Welcome to Playoff Chase, and today the NBA playoffs begin, and we are making our full bracket prediction today. This video may focus the most on round one just because those are the matchups that we know are happening, and not only are they happening, but they're happening right now. By the time you're watching this, the playoffs are underway, so I'm going to predict the winner and in how many games of every series that I think will happen throughout the playoffs. So smash the like button if you're like, I want to see more of this, man. As of right now, I do indeed plan on running all three sports, baseball, basketball, and football on this channel, and that's exciting. Follow the Instagram at Playoff Chase because I do a lot of great takes. I give my takes on there, and I just provide you guys with some great sports content. At least I think so. Let's start in the East, where we got the 8 vs 1 matchup, the Washington Wizards and the Philadelphia 76ers. I think it's going to be close to whether the Sixers win this one in 4 or 5, but I'm going to go 4. I think that the Sixers are looking really strong going into these playoffs. And the Wizards, while you could make the case that they could go off and win a game due to the fact that they're carried by stars, I do think that there'll be at least one really close game, but I'm going to say Sixers do get the sweep here. Man, the Sixers and their easy part of the bracket, man. I know they have the 1 seed, and the Wizards are a normal first-round opponent, and the Wizards are a normal 8 seed. But their second round, man, it's because the 4 or 5 matchup, which we're about to get to, is definitely the weakest overall matchup here. It's the Atlanta Hawks and the New York Knicks. And even though I'm a Nets fan, I do want the Knicks to win this series. They're not my team or anything, but it is still my city and my favorite colors. I'm going with the Hawks in 7, though. I think that the Atlanta Hawks I feel like most, I don't even want to say casuals. I would just say most fans in general are picking the Knicks, but then most sites are favoring the Hawks slightly. And yes, it is slightly. I have the Knicks losing Game 7 at Madison Square Garden. I think this is going to be a really, really, really fun series to just see who the heck wins. So Hawks, I have you guys going to the second round of the NBA playoffs. All right, we got this other part of the East bracket, the 7 versus the 2, the Boston Celtics and the Brooklyn Nets. Jason Tatum has that ability to get really, really hot. He scored 50 in his play-in game to defeat Washington. Brooklyn, though, is definitely comparable. They're they're the new Golden State. Brooklyn is going to win this one in 4. I cannot quite see Boston taking a game with only one superstar. Kemba, obviously, I don't know. He's just not what he was in Charlotte, unfortunately. And even in Boston, remember, Kemba Walker was a starting all-star in 2020. And I like Kemba, but as a whole, he just hasn't had that same impact on Boston that he had in Charlotte. Remember, when he came to Boston, we saw it being a team that was 1 Walker, 2 Tatum, 3 Brown in terms of ranking their greatness. All right, well, yeah, I have the Nets sweeping them. Miami, Milwaukee, the series to watch in the East. Well, Atlanta, New York is going to be extremely close, but none of them are championship contenders. So Miami, Milwaukee is the series to watch in the East. Although it would be a surprise if any of these teams won an NBA title. The Bucks are obviously the better team, but the Heat are the team that owns the Bucks. So this is so freaking fascinating. I'm going to go with Bucks in 6. I think the Bucks will close it out in Miami in Game 6. I do believe that they could win in Miami, well, I guess it's a bad example to say, seeing how they won by 50 in Miami in the December, because that didn't have fans yet. But it's not impossible to win on the road. And I think 6 is just the right number of games for this. I think that the Heat will show why they own the Bucks, but the Milwaukee Bucks are definitely a better basketball team, and that was just one of the most shocking things I've ever seen. The Bucks losing in 5 last year to the Heat. The Bucks' only win being an overtime game in Game 4 when it was Maya leads 3-0. So Bucks in 6, moving on to the second round. They had a bit of a down regular season in comparison to the last 2, but the Bucks still showed flashes. They just weren't able to be super consistent throughout the regular season, but they got on some good win streaks and stuff. Milwaukee Bucks playing fine basketball, playing with good health going into these playoffs, as all of the top 3 teams in the East. Miami is too, but they got a they should have really finished at that 4 seed, like the Knicks and the Hawks, just barely finishing above Miami. because Miami is that fourth best team in the East. West first round, Memphis Grizzlies, Utah Jazz. I will go with the Utah Jazz in 5 games here. Finally, the Utah Jazz are going to win a first round series. I really wanted them to last year, but they choked a 3-1 lead to Denver. Funny story, I ordered a Mitchell shirt when it was Jazz lead 3-2 in the series. I was ready to wear it for Game 7 if needed, or at least wear it when it was Jazz Clippers second round, but instead, Nuggets beat the Jazz in Game 7. My shirt comes the day after. And it was a City Edition shirt, and now they made that City Edition theme black instead of mainly gold. The Memphis Grizzlies looked great against the Golden State Warriors. Here's this misconception. There's this idea that, like, Memphis is, like, a lot worse than Golden State or whatever. But as a whole team, if you play a best of 31, the Memphis Grizzlies are definitely going to beat the Warriors in like 26 or something. Because the Warriors had that ability to get hot because of Curry, but as a whole, the Memphis Grizzlies are the more complete team. And I was surprised to see Golden State finish at the 8th seed but not make the playoffs. Dude, if the Warriors won last night, which it went to overtime, that would have been crazy, because that means the home team would have won all 6 play-in games, which would be absurd. It would be like, that brings out the toxicness of NBA fans who would start being like, oh, what was the whole point of this? Because if all the 7 and 8s just got in anyway. But it's not like the NBA knows who wins, but whatever. But yeah, I wanted the Warriors to win, not like horrendously bad, because they would just get bounced out to the Jazz anyway. And I am excited for this Memphis core. I'm excited about this Grizzlies core to see them, if they could be at all competitive. I have Jazz in 5, not 4. I have the Jazz in 5, and I think the Memphis Grizzlies will rise towards the level of the Mavericks and Trailblazers next season. Memphis Grizzlies are going to be one of the better teams in the NBA for a while, I think. All right, we got the matchup that will play the Jazz winner. That would be the 5 versus 4, Dallas Mavericks and LA Clippers. These two faced off in the first round last year. That was a 7-2. This is a 5-4, but still, both teams in a very, very similar franchise situation as they were last year. Therefore, I have the LA Clippers getting it done in 6 games. I was close between if this is going to go 5 or if it's going to go 6. I'm going Clippers in 6. Dallas Mavericks have been playing terrific basketball since a slow start to the year. They were maybe 8-11 or something around there. And they finished 43-29. Good job, Dallas. I knew you guys were good. I had you going 4 seed coming into the season. And while 5, 6, 7 was close, I do think the Mavericks are a better team than the Portland Trailblazers, probably. You're the LA Clippers. You have 2 absolute superstars on your team. And the LA Clippers are moving to the second round where they'll face the Jazz. 7-2. LA Lakers, Phoenix Suns. This is probably the first time maybe in NBA history where the 7 seed comes in as the odds-on favorites to beat the 2 seed. And while this is one that I kind of just stared at for a while, just had a pen in my hand, I'm not really sure who to pick, it occurred to me that there's no way I'm not picking the Lakers here. And I run down the rosters. I actually made a video about this that was on some weird channel that I might post on my normal channel. I should. It was going Lakers in 6. Lakers in 6 is my pick, because that's the right number of games to pick. Lakers in 6, the smartest pick out there. Lakers closing it out at home at the Staples Center in Game 6. The matchup that will correlate with that one, Portland Trailblazers, Denver Nuggets. The matchup that's extremely close. You know it's extremely close when the home team comes in as a minus 1.0. 1 point favored in the first game are the Nuggets. I believe I'm also picking the best pick with this one. Trailblazers in 7. Trailblazers in Denver, Game 7, closing it out just as they did in the 2019 Round 2. Oh man, this series is going to be hype. Round 2, Atlanta Hawks, Philadelphia 76ers. We got another free pass for the Sixers, as they already know that they're going to the conference finals. How about that? Barring an Embiid injury, the 76ers are already in the conference finals. Philadelphia is going to beat the Hawks in 5 games in the second round. Milwaukee Bucks, Brooklyn Nets, a marquee second round series, because the Bucks are very, very good. The Brooklyn Nets, though, are again comparable to the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, Brooklyn Nets in 6. I think 6 is pretty conservative. I could have said 5 or something, but I'll go 6 because I understand that it's not very likely that our guys, all 3, will just stay healthy and play every single game. They might get banged up, you know. West Conference semifinals. LA Clippers, Utah Jazz. The Jazz the 1 seed, the Clippers the 4 seed, and I also think this is the right pick. LA in 6. The Clippers at the Staples Center, gonna get it done against the Jazz in Game 6. This is gonna be a marquee matchup. Literally a healthy 1 seed in a great conference against a team that is seen as, you can make a case that they're favorites in the West. This weird series, Los Angeles Lakers, Portland Trailblazers. So if the Trailblazers beat the Nuggets, and if the Lakers beat the Suns, the Trailblazers, a 6 seed, could have home court in the second round. Whoa. This year, a Game 1 of the second round at the Moda Center? We'll have to see if that happens, but that is my pick. We got the Los Angeles Lakers and the Portland Trailblazers. And unfortunately, Trailblazers fans, Lakers are going to win this one at 5. Eastern Conference Finals, man. We got the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers, the Sixers with that home court advantage. And the Brooklyn Nets are going to get it done at the Barclays Center at home in Game 6. Going to be a lot of just great momentum and stuff for the Nets. Home Game 6, going to the NBA Finals. That's going to be a lot of fun. We got the LA Lakers and the LA Clippers. Despite so many other elite teams in the West, it happens to be these 2 that remain the favorites, at least to me, in the West. Lakers, Clippers. Lakers in 6. The Los Angeles Lakers, I think that they'll get it together, and I think that they have the better chance than anyone else to go to the finals from the West. We got the NBA Finals between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets have home court advantage in this series. Your 2021 NBA champion in a 6-game series, the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets are going to close this out, I guess, in Los Angeles in Game 6. Wow. You got LeBron up against another super team. Rings are not, like, literally, trust me, I understand that rings are what teams play for. That's the main thing of the whole sport. Like, that's the whole point of the season. Who's going to win the chip? Obviously, there's a bunch of other things that we really care about, such as, like, who's going to take step forwards with their franchise. We love that stuff, but the championship is the biggest thing that matters. I know that. But when you're assessing individual greatness, I feel like people overrate rings. Like, jeez. Who's playing better basketball? Not who has a better supporting cast and who has to face easier opponents. Like, LeBron is very, very legendary. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like the video, man. Follow the Instagram. We got so much drama coming up in basketball the next 2 months. We got good old regular season baseball. And eventually we'll have NFL. What a great time to be a sports fan. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment below your thoughts. Comment below your prediction. Comment below anything you really want to predict for these NBA playoffs, whether that be your NBA Finals prediction with the how many games and stuff, or whether it's something bold that you have to say and want to come back to and look like a genius.